Hey guys, and welcome to this video on Black Moon Lilith in astrology. I'm Cassandra, the Saffron Sage, helping you use astrology to evolve, and in this video we're talking about Black Moon Lilith. The Black Moon Lilith, we'll talk about what the point is, we will talk about the mythology, and then we'll go through what it means for the sign that you have Black Moon Lilith in your natal chart. So Black Moon Lilith is not a planet, it's not an asteroid, it is a point in space. It's called a lunar apogee, and it is the distance from the Earth to the furthest point on the moon's orbit. So the moon travels around the Earth in an elliptical orbit. It's not a perfect circle. So there is a point that ends up being further away from the Earth on that circle. And so Black Moon Lilith is that point in space. There is the Black Moon Lilith, and there's also the true Black Moon. So if you really want to get technical, you can look at both of these and see which one you feel resonates. But for the purposes of this video, just simply clicking Lilith in the chart on other objects in astro.com and seeing where it shows up in your chart, that is enough to get value out of these videos. So that being said, let's move on to the myth of Lilith. So Lilith was the true first lady before Eve even existed. Lilith was the first lady, and she was in the Garden of Eden with Adam. And one of the stories I read says they were both created from the dust of the earth. And there are many different myths that talk about Lilith. There's not just one, so these differ. But the gist of the story is that she wanted to be on top. Adam said, "No, you'll submit to me," and she would not submit. And because she would not submit, she got kicked out. Some people say she left, some people say she got kicked out, but the sort of overarching theme here is that she was not accepted just for having the same desires that Adam had. I think it's so fascinating that this story isn't even told. And so again, here the myths differ, but they all kind of basically curse her in some way or another. One that I read said that her children would be cursed to die if she didn't come back to Adam. So we see the themes in this story of, you know, the masculine need for power and control and the feminine need to be wild and free, and how those don't match up. So what does this mean in the natal chart? Lilith has, in my opinion, two meanings. Okay, so one meaning is that Lilith can be the shadow. So this can be an area of life where you tend to overdo it. You have maybe too much of this energy, or the way that you express the energy wherever your Lilith is in your chart is like the shadow side of that sign, the negative side, the overindulgence. It can be where you feel like there's never enough. The second meaning of wherever your Lilith is the thing that people don't let you express, the thing that people get upset at you for expressing. And this may or may not be the energy of your sun, moon, or rising, depending on where Lilith is in your chart. But oftentimes you can actually be embodying this energy in a normal, regular way, and people will not accept you for living that out, even if it's balanced. And so it takes a little bit of self-knowledge, like true self-knowledge, true soul searching, to really be able to kind of parse out the difference with Lilith between where you possibly could be overindulging, where you could be, you know, never satisfied, versus where you are naturally embodying that energy in a balanced and healthy way, but it somehow rubs other people the wrong way. You know, just like Lilith in that story where she wasn't really doing anything wrong. She just said no once. And that was enough to get her cast out of basically society and demonized for the rest of her life. So this is the story in our own lives where we have those sort of archetypes, those themes play out, even if they're not as extreme, right? So we might not be cast out of society, but people around us might not approve for certain things. And, you know, that has ripples and layers of effects. So let's now get into what Lilith means in your sign. So if you have Lilith in the sign of Virgo, there's going to be a shadow side, and people are going to reject you for expressing that energy in a healthy way. The shadow side of Lilith in Virgo is going to be a need for control and a need for perfection, a need to fix things that are wrong. So keep in mind, this is a spectrum. You're going to be on one level or another. You may find this energy is very subtle in your life or very extreme, just depending on a bunch of other stuff. Lilith in Virgo wants to be in control, wants everything to be perfect, wants everything to be clean and tidy and in a perfect place. So the worst expression of this energy is being a control freak, flipping out if things aren't in control, trying to make other people, you know, like fit into the box that you want to put them in, nitpicking people, criticizing people. This can also show up on yourself though. With Virgo, anything with Virgo can include shame. It can include feelings of just deep guilt, feelings of being wrong, okay? This is a sign where if there are any kind of challenging aspects, then we're going to see this feeling of being wrong, this feeling of being guilty, this feeling of being shamed, maybe having life experiences where people have shamed you. Now, going into what it looks like if other people reject you for expressing Virgo energy, this is going to be people, you know, like making fun of you for being too organized. It's where when you are being organized and you have things together, someone messy is going to come along and hate you for it. And remember that, you know, with Lilith, the reason why she got cast out was because Adam didn't like her wanting what he wanted. So I feel like this is the theme with Lilith, is other people want you to not express that energy because it works better for them, not necessarily because it's wrong. Okay, so with Virgo, it's like Virgo wants to be precise, and like there's also craftsmanship. This is like a good quality of Virgo, is like being able to make something better, to polish something, to be able to I think of like the Eight of Pentacles, you know, to work on your skill set, to just get better and better at something. So if you have Lilith in Virgo and you are trying to be good at stuff, someone will come along and tell you, you don't need to try that hard, but they just want to be more comfortable with whatever they're not trying at. So they'll tell you you're trying too hard because they don't care. And they want to be in that Pisces energy of going with the flow and not having to focus on details. That may be right or wrong, but with Lilith, the trick is to know when to allow that energy and allow people to have their reaction, and sort of learn what the healthy expression of that energy is for you in your life, and then learn how to just let the chips fall where they may when other people don't like it. There's also a purity with Virgo, okay? So with Virgo, it's like you'll want to be, it's not just being good at something, but like there's an honesty here. There's an honesty and a humility. And this is something you could find other people don't like too. If you are embodying this, you know, like this humble servant energy, other people might see this energy and it triggers them, and they are going to say something to criticize you for being honest or being humble, for not being proud enough, for not being showy enough, because Virgo is not a very showy sign. And they might misinterpret that humility as not caring enough about yourself. Sometimes people misinterpret Virgo energy as that way, as like you're not proud enough because you don't act like, you're not putting yourself on display, you know, you're not showing off, so you must not be good. Things like that can show up for the trigger, the way Virgo can trigger people and people can react. So that's what I have for Lilith and Virgo. If you want to look at your Lilith, your shadow, if you want to go deep into shadow work, or you just want to look at if you're on the right path and really use astrology to help you align with your life, your passions, your mission, all that stuff, you can click the link to book a reading with me, and that is what I have for this video. So I'll see you guys later.